I was a kid, my mother was very instrumental in getting me involved in music. She came from a family of musicians, I come from a family of musicians, and I remember listening to Max Roach on one of her records when I was about 5, 6 years old, and I was fascinated by it, and I knew I was going to be a drummer at that point. And when I was probably 12 or 13, maybe a little younger than that, but I was outside playing baseball, and she yelled out to me and said, "Come on, you got to come inside, you got to see this." And it was, like all these guys are talking about, it was Buddy Rich playing on PBS, and it changed my life. So, and she always used to talk about seeing Gene Krupa at the Paramount, because my mother's about 175 years old, so she was there when Gene Krupa was at the Paramount. And anyway, so she was always very supportive. So fast forward, I'm about 19 or 20 years old, and Rachel Robinson, the widow of Jackie Robinson, of course, had something called the Jackie Robinson Foundation. And she had a big jazz festival every year called an Afternoon of Jazz, and everybody came through there. Basie was there, Duke Ellington was there before I got there, but Dave Brubeck and Clark Terry and Dizzy and Buddy and Max and all these legendary musicians came through. And I was one of 2 house drummers at that jazz festival for about 8 years. And so one year, one of the first years, maybe I was about 20, Tony Bennett was going to be one of the guests, one of the performers. And there was always kind of a little conversation about who was going to play with who and what rhythm section was going to back what artist, and it turned out that I was going to play with Tony Bennett. So of course my mother was right there on a blanket about 10 feet in front of the tent. So this was the early days of the Sony Walkman, and I brought my Walkman out to her blanket, and I said, "Listen, I'm going to play with Tony, so when they introduce him, push this red button, hold it down until the light comes on, and don't do anything else. Just do that." I'm 20 years old and play with Tony Bennett. There's 4,000 people out there really excited. So Tony comes out, they introduce him, I play a set with him, it's great, we have a great time, and it was Hank Jones, I think, and Earl May was in the rhythm section. It was just a fantastic experience, especially for a young kid. And we played the rest of the afternoon out, and then I went home, and the first thing I did, of course, was pull out the cassette, because I wanted to hear what it sounded like, playing with Tony Bennett. It was so exciting. And so this is what I heard. "And now, ladies and gentlemen, brings us Tony Bennett." Everybody goes nuts. "Thank you, thank you, thank you. I left I can't believe he's up there with Tony Bennett. I can't believe it. The whole time, I knew he was going to play with Tony Bennett. When I saw Tony Bennett's name on that, I said, he is going to end up with Tony Bennett today. I just know it. You see, it's like, you're in the right place at the right time." She talked over the entire thing. I managed to tell him that story years later, that he was actually a big part of our family lore now, that she ruined one of my earliest musical memories. So this is Sing, Sing, Sing. She talked about Gene Krupa playing Sing, 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 playing on a book of matches. So this is for you, Mom. I hope you